Now, back to nothing but sports talk. And maybe a little Game of Thrones talk. No? Pretty Little Liars? Fine, just sports. Back to Zach Gelb on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
Welcome back, everybody. Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. The big news on 4th of July on Monday was Kevin Durant is leaving the Oklahoma City Thunder and is joining the Golden State Warriors. It's going to be the big four. You're going to have Clay, Steph, Draymond, and then, of course, KD. And now joining us on the hotline is the Basketball Hall of Famer, a man that's won an NBA championship and is a Finals MVP, and that is Rick Barry. Rick, thanks for a few minutes, and how are you?
I'm doing great. I hope everybody had a great holiday and enjoy the summer coming up there.
Well, I know that you like all year long to go around fishing, and last time we tried to get you on, you were fishing in Alaska and Canada, so how has the fishing life been?
It was nice. You know, Ray Floyd, the Hall of Fame golfer, is a buddy of mine, and he invited me up to go to Alaska, did some Atlantic salmon fishing. We got some bone fishing done with him and down in the Bahamas, and getting ready to go with my teammate Clifford Ray up to Alaska next weekend and hang out up there and do some fishing. What's
the biggest fish that you ever caught?
Oh, I've caught sailfish and marlin, which are big fish, but I'm not a big huge fan of saltwater fishing. But I've caught some pretty good size 30+ inch fish before and freshwater stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
What was a bigger thrill, making a big shot or going out there and catching a big fish?
Well, basketball is my love and my passion for so many years of my life. Unfortunately, I can't do that anymore, so I had to find something else. So, fishing, I get a lot of adrenaline rushes. Every time I get a bite and I set that hook, that's an adrenaline rush. And up in Alaska, I'm doing that 100 or more times a day on a regular basis. So it's very exhilarating. And so, if people ever wanted to join me on one of my trips, sometime just go to rickbarry24.com and I throw up different opportunities to go fishing with me.
I'll tell you, I went fishing over Memorial Day weekend a few weeks ago, and I haven't gone fishing in a long time. And I was sitting there, and I was waiting for that adrenaline rush, and 2 hours went by, and I caught nothing. And finally, I got something, and it was a stingray, and that absolutely sucked, Rick.
Yeah, no, a lot of times when you're in the salt water, you get stuff. You have no idea what the heck may be on it, and a lot of times it can be a stingray, and that's kind of disappointing when you're over there fighting real hard, and all of a sudden you bring up and you see that ugly stingray coming up.
All right, let's get to KD. Were you surprised when Kevin Durant decided to go to Golden State?
Not really totally surprised. I knew it was going to be a difficult decision for him, as he so eloquently expressed in his letter, his message. But if he was serious about winning a championship, I said months ago when I first heard about the possibility that he might decide to leave, I thought the Warriors would be the perfect fit for him. I really do think that he just will bring an element to that team that just makes him almost unguardable. And the message I'm sending out to KD is to go and spend the entire offseason working on developing a low post game. Because if he were to do that with the mismatches that he has, he would create so many problems for the defense that it'd be just ridiculous. And then if they went small and they have to guard him, he can then go and post somebody up. But if they try to put a big guy on him, how's a big guy going to guard him out on the floor? I mean, he'll go by him like he's not even there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but I certainly wish him well, but know that it had to be a very agonizing and difficult thing for him to have to leave a place that he had such great relationships with and the way that the people treated him back there.
When I first heard the news on July 4th, I thought to myself, wow, how the heck are you going to guard them? Even if, let's say, Steph and Clay were off, you still have Draymond and KD killing you night in and night out. I just don't get how you're going to guard them, Rick.
That's going to be very difficult. I mean, the only thing you can think of is that you basically switch every screen, just switch everything and stay up on your guy and just not give anybody any space and say, if you're going to beat me, it's a little bit different. You used to be that you wanted to force people to go inside and make them beat you from the perimeter. With this team, it's just the opposite. You have to stay up on them and force them to go inside and make them beat you inside as opposed to outside.
You take a look, a lot of people mention the words loyalty, and many people think that Kevin Durant has been disloyal to the Thunder. And I say, hey, he has a right to go to whatever team he wants. You may not like the team that he picked, but that's his choice at the end of the day. And also, if you remember how Oklahoma City got their team, they left Seattle. So what do you say about the people that say Kevin Durant was disloyal to the Thunder?
Are you talking about Stephen A. Smith? He owes an apology to Kevin Durant, starting all this BS. That's ridiculous. He has every right in the world to do what he's doing. He gave them, 9 years or something of that nature. Hey, listen, every athlete on the professional level wants to have one thing next to the name associated with him: champion. okay, his best chance of having that as part of his legacy is to be with the Golden State Warriors. And so I certainly, have no problem with him going to do that. I have no problem with any player looking to do that. In the past, it used to be guys would go someplace just for the money. Well, that's being very selfish and not really caring about whether or not you win or not, just a matter of whether you put money in your pocket. Well, it's gotten to the point now the money is so great, money isn't even a factor with a guy like Durant with how much he makes off the court and on the court. And so he's making the decision based upon the most important thing for a professional athlete to want to do, which is to be a champion.
Talking about money, you were a tremendous basketball player, obviously a basketball Hall of Famer. KD deserves every penny that he's going to get through the course of his career. But a guy like Timothy Mozgov gets $64 million. How much does that annoy you that a guy gets $64 million when you didn't even get close to that money when you played?
Close to it? What are you kidding me? I never heard the word million in my contract negotiations. The lowest paid guy in the league will make more money than I made in the best year I ever had. That's just life. If I had to do it over again, I'd certainly go back and be a player. I'd love to be a player today. It's just insane the kind of money that I'd be making, but I can't even relate to that. But, hey, lucky for them. But what I don't understand is why teams are willing to pay that kind of money. I mean, you could go out. There's players that have been signed now for $40, $50, $60 million contracts for 4 or 5 years, whatever it may be. But I guarantee you, I could go out and find them someone that's probably as good or better than them who would play for millions and millions and millions of dollars less than what they're paying these guys. Why in the world would you pay that much money to a role player? It makes no sense whatsoever. They're crazy doing that.
Rick Barry joins us right now on the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920, The Jersey. How do you think Golden State will embrace that villain mentality? Because night in and night out, everyone that isn't a Golden State Warriors fan is going to want to give them their best shot and take them down.
Well, they know that they're going to be a target because they're one of the premier teams. They went through it and set a record with 73 wins dealing with that scenario, and they're going to be a target again this year. They know that, but they have a great mindset, and they don't care who gets the job done. They're kind of selfless. Where they get in trouble at times is when they do come down and all of a sudden somebody will come down and jack up the first opportunity. That's not Warriors basketball at its best. When the Warriors are at their best, they're playing tough defense, creating turnovers, controlling the boards, pushing the ball, and they're moving the ball. If they're not getting easy baskets in transition, it's 2, 3, 4, 5 passes creating an opportunity, and now they have so many weapons going for them. If they play that way with offense and defense simultaneously executing at the level that they're capable of doing for 30-plus minutes a game, they're rarely going to lose. It's that simple.
And
but the problem is they have a tendency not to do that, and they lose their focus, and they start to do stuff, and they're their own worst enemy, like it was in the finals in Game 7. The last 4:39, they fell in love with the three-point shot, and they died by it because they should have been going to the basket, getting fouled, going to the line. They didn't have to be shooting, primarily three-point shots for the last 4:39. In fact, that last 4 minutes and 39 seconds in the Game 7 of a championship finals in the NBA may have been the worst 4 minutes and 39 seconds of basketball that has been played in the NBA finals in the Game 7 because it was horrible basketball. One three-point shot by Kyrie Irving and a foul on LeBron. I mean, come on, that was horrible basketball.
It wasn't. A guy like KD, now he could take you to the rim because he's such a mismatch defensively if you look at it.
Yeah, well, not only can he take it, Clay can take it, and Steph can take it, and they're all great free throw shooters.
We're talking to Rick Barry, who joins us right now. How about the competitive balance of the league? Because the Western Conference, now you don't have really Oklahoma City being able to compete for the championship. The Spurs are getting another year older. You take a look at the East, it's just LeBron James versus everyone else in the Eastern Conference. Is this move at all with KD going to the Golden State Warriors bad for the league in terms of competitive balance?
Well, it's like you pointed out. I mean, Oklahoma City's not going to be a team getting rid of Ibaka. That was, I don't know why they did that. That may have helped Kevin make his decision because they weren't going to be as good a team without Ibaka, even if he had stayed. But San Antonio, I have to say, San Antonio picked up Gasol. I mean, San Antonio actually improved themselves somewhat. I mean, and they do have some guys who are young, and I do like that team a lot. And they find a way to get the right people together to be competitive. So you certainly aren't going to count them out. And maybe Portland's starting to come along. So some of the teams in the West are still going to be competitive, but you're right that Oklahoma City will not be. But the competitive balance, certainly is not going to be what it was last season. But here's the thing. It's up to the teams to do that. I don't care how bad you are. Where teams screw up, there's three things that predicate the success of any team sport for that team. Who do you draft? Who do you get in free agency? Who do you trade for? It's all about the players. teams make the worst personnel decisions imaginable. And if you don't have good personnel, I don't care who you have coaching your team, you're not going to win. And sometimes coaches will do more damage to a good team than they will as far as making them better. But it doesn't matter who the coach is. If you don't have the personnel, you're not winning. That's simple. And so teams just have to do a better job of evaluating talent and stop getting hung up on the athleticism of a player and go and find players who are smart basketball players and know how to play the game, who are willing to sacrifice. And then hopefully you get fortunate enough to find a guy who's athletic and has the basketball skills and the feel for the game that you'd like to see, and then you develop your team. The Warriors are a perfect example of what can be done. The Warriors were a joke for so many years. I would never even wear my Warriors gear when I go out because I was embarrassed. Now I wear it proudly. But what happened? They got Jerry West in, they got Myers in, they started making smart personnel decisions, and look what they've done. Other teams can do the same thing.
And one of those players that we hope we got here in Philadelphia is a Ben Simmons. Have you seen Ben Simmons play?
He just threw 35. Guy's pretty. He's a heck of a player. I saw him play. My son Canyon in college, who has one more year left, and he's going to be at Florida, actually played against them and upset them. They beat him. They were mid-major in college at Charleston, and they beat LSU in Charleston last season. And I got to see Simmons. He's a terrific player, and it looks like they want him to be more offensive-minded because I thought that he was a little bit too passive offensively. But man, oh man, does he have a great feel for the game, handle the ball, pass the ball? He's going to be a heck of a player.
What advice would you give to a young player like that?
Just play. Just have fun. Enjoy the game and get a coach that's going to make him utilize his skills. I mean, as I say, I don't think that he utilized his skills as effectively as he should have. He needed to be more aggressive. He's got to get, a pull-up jump shot. He certainly can go to the basket. But what I love about him is his court vision. He just has a great feel for the game. He's like a LeBron. He's a little tall. He's taller than LeBron, and he's like LeBron in that regard, that he has such a great feel and sees the floor so well and can create opportunities for his teammates. He just needs to be a little bit more aggressive offensively so that he has multiple ways to be able to score.
Now, before we let you run, in the league right now, you see all this hack-a-shack nonsense and everything, and big guys going to the free throw line. Heck, it's not only in the NBA. I was playing an intramural game 2 weeks ago, and they started fouling me, except I made my free throws, unlike some of these bigs in the NBA. Let me ask you this. Should more players, if they're struggling with their free throws, shoot underhand like you did?
Well, it's certainly something that they should give some consideration to, but if not that, because they don't want to do it because their egos are so big, I don't know what the problem is. Why would you try anything if it works? My son Scooter actually has a company he's doing work for. It's the greatest teaching tool I've ever seen to teach how to shoot. It's a shooting sleeve. It's called Solid Shot, and it's amazing. I mean, it really, truly is amazing. And he's actually, working right now with some NBA teams and NBA colleges that are starting to use the sleeve, and it's going to change the way shooting is taught, and it's going to revolutionize the game. So if anybody's serious about it, they need to check it out, and hopefully they're going to start to the point where come next fall, they'll have a product out there for the general public to be able to use it. And if somebody wants to learn how to shoot, this is the greatest tool ever. Jerry West has seen it, and Chris Mullen, and everybody who's seen it just is falling in love with it. Pretty spectacular. So even if you're missing your free throws, you might be able to check it out and see how it works.
Well, Rick, we appreciate the time today. Thanks so much.
One quick thing. Let me just tell everybody real fast. HydrusPerformance.com, HYDRUS Performance.com, HydrusPerformance.com. Most people in the world, it's proven, walk around on a daily basis dehydrated. If your body's dehydrated, it doesn't function like it was meant to, and you have a lot of ailments possibly that could be corrected if you get yourself hydrated. So check the product out. It's got no sugar in it. It's got a concentrate form. You have a little package you can travel with and just pour it into bottles if you're working out or just drinking on a regular basis, which you should be doing. It's got some nice flavors, orange, lemon, lime. If you like it, put 24 in the promo code, and you'll get a discount. HydrusPerformance.com. Get your body back to being hydrated so that your body will operate in a more efficient manner.
You got to do me a favor. You got to get Ben Simmons some of that stuff because he was cramping during the summer leagues.
Well, there you go. See, if these guys were using this stuff, I mean, because, no sugar and everything. And we also know what happened to LeBron James a few years ago.
You're right.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Rick. We appreciate it.
Take care.